Welcome to Applied Theatre India Foundation. My name is Kaustubh, and today we have Radhika Kadam with us. Radhika is a alumni of postgraduate diploma in applied theatre from the first batch, and there is a reason why I invited her first to talk about her experience because she's the one who enrolled uh, at the very last for the PGDT program. So let's start this interview where we can understand how applied theatre is helping once you learn and once you start applying in different areas. Radhika is a corporate trainer working in Mumbai, and she has been doing freelancing work with different organizations. So let us start, Radhika, with your background first. So tell us something about where you are coming from, what is your education, and till the point you landed to Applied Theatre India Foundation.
Okay. My official graduation was BMM, that's Bachelor's of Mass Media, with a specialization in advertising.
Okay.
Though I have never worked a day in that field, because even when I was in college itself, I had started doing theatre through inter college competitions, various festivals, all of that. So after college, I was questioning what do I do. So then I continued with theatre because यंग एज में एक भी होता है ना जितना कम मेहनत उतना ज्यादा अच्छा. So it was very easy for me. I didn't have to do a lot of auditions sometimes, and I was getting work very quickly. And in theater, then it wasn't something that I want to do acting or I want to be an actress. I did multiple things. I directed, I managed productions, I designed sound, all of that. And I was just trying to explore and understand what do I want. What is it about theater that I am like? So I did theater, and then I started working at an organization. It was a company called Cineplay, and what we did was take up theater scripts and we converted them into movies. Uh, so during that time, I got a call for a play, something called as a corporate play. At that time, it was new for me, and at the corporate play, and I was like, "What is it?" So let me try and understand. So at the same time, I had completed a diploma in dramatics from Mumbai University. It's a 1 year diploma with my TY. I did that. So it was the journey has been parallel. Education and theater has been going parallel since I was in college. Before that, not much of an exposure I had. And then while doing the corporate play, I started there as a small performing a small monologue. But 2 months down the line, because the director had to move out of the country, I ended up directing the play for almost a year. It was a corporate play for diversity and workplace, diversity and inclusion at the workplace. And at then my journey into applied theater and theater for education, theater for social started exploration.
Okay, great, wonderful. So when it was the first time you heard about Applied Theatre India Foundation?
So I was at a juncture where I wanted to do study something up. So I wanted to study applied theater, and I had been looking it up for almost a year and a half. And in India, we did not have a good course with a solid foundation in theory, which I prefer that. Most of them were short-term workshops, a 2 month workshop or a 3 month workshop at the max. And I wanted a full-time course which would help me understand lay my foundation first with theory and then build upon the practices on them.
Yeah.
So I kept on Googling, and I think after a point, the targeted ad reached me. And through my research only, I one day came to know about Applied Theatre India Foundation. And the moment I came to know, I applied.
Okay. And what made you think about, you have to complete the diploma in applied theater? Because earlier you had your first graduation in advertising, marketing management, then you did diploma in theater arts. So one more qualification. What made you think of, I have to do it?
So I always believe, because when I thought that I would be running a business, I come from that background. My mom is a school teacher. If you want to do something, first learn. When I wanted to, I had a creative pursuit for a business, a different business. My parents made me complete the study and creative and cultural business program from IIM Ahmedabad. So I completed that because so that is a culture in my family, I would say, that if you want to do something, first study, first learn it. It can be any skill, it needs to be learned. So that was very clear in my mind that I have to learn, because you can't go do things without learning. And then when I looked up about Applied Theatre India Foundation, I looked at the amazing faculty that we have, and so I researched about you, sir, about the body of work that you have, and through that I realized that this is what I want to do, and this is the organization that I want to do this course with.
Okay, just for the information to our listeners, we have started this diploma during the COVID time. We have announced in 2020, but we couldn't make it because of the COVID restrictions. So we started in 2021, and I think we all had a very tough time, all of us, because there were a lot of restrictions coming in and going out, and then in between we had to do a lot of things. Somehow we complete all the modules, and somewhere we need to shuffle and postpone and sometimes cancel also. But finally, we completed. How was the entire PGDAT experience for you?
So as you mentioned initially, I was the last one to join the batch. So initially it was a bit of a struggle because I was playing catch up with everyone else. But what I liked was when I joined, our first module was psychology. That again laid a good base about understanding. And I remember Katie ma'am, she taught us what was required. Sometimes they say na, half knowledge is more dangerous than a full lie. So
Right.
she explained things to us in that manner. She's like, I'm telling you this theory, but I don't want you to go too much in detail with this because then you will have half knowledge of this, and then problem zyada bad jayegi. So she made us understand how we are going to use this knowledge of psychology in applied theatre. That explanation of hers was useful. So then through the different modules, I think we cancelled one class in July
Yeah.
because of again lockdown was going to happen probably. What I liked was our hybrid module, coming to class, meeting everyone, then again going back and having doing your own study. So the entire course, I like the flow of it also. We started off with basic and somewhat easy subjects, and then we went on to getting into more deeper and deeper knowledge. Again, I obviously always prefer the first study the theory, come to class, learn the applications, start working on the assignments. The assignments were tough since I mean the batch must be knowing the assignments are tough. But for me, through the diploma, my biggest takeaway was I learned a lot about my own self. What are my strengths? What are my limitations? Where are the areas where I can push myself? And where are the areas where I need to improve and grow? I became much more conscious and aware about my skills as a trainer and facilitator, that
Right.
okay, this is something that I need to improve, this is something that I need to work on, because uh, our faculty is such that they always will give you one-on-one response and feedback. This is because I have my diary, I still even now, my PG diary, I love that book, keep it and I go through it once in a while if I feel that there is I sometimes happens you get too busy in life, and you feel out of touch from your work. So at that time, I go back to the diary, I read it, and I remind myself.
You're
I
talking
also
about working journal.
Yeah, the working journal. So because I had written down notes, even the personal feedbacks given to me by each faculty member, because it's a partition journal that I have for each subject. At the end, I have my notes that this is what in this subject I need to work on or improve on. And that helps me even today. That working journal helps me even today.
Great. So after that, once you completed the whole thing and you get into the practical world, uh, how you started looking at the world in a different sense when you completed the applied theater program?
See, as I said, for me, the biggest learning was I learned a lot about myself. I explored my own self. And once you learn and understand your own self, you definitely, your worldview changes.
Right.
For me, at least, I became a much more, my empathy increased. Also, I realized that there are a lot of times that I am overthinking about things which are not required. If you remember, sir, I mean, I think theater and education, and I kept on asking Srividya ma'am doubts about, like, what if this happens? What if that happens during a session? And then you told me, "Pehle session to le lo." So yeah, there was a lot of self-doubt that got clarified through the diploma, and that is all thanks to the course and the structure of the course.
So what are you doing now? Like in a practical sense, what are you doing? Where you're working? How you're using applied theater in different areas? So tell us something about it.
Okay, so luckily, in our batch, I was the one who started working and getting assignments and training and training assignments even before I completed the diploma.
Yes.
Just a couple of months before, not very much in advance, but a couple of months before. At that time, it was a sales training for Tata Sky that I started working with. And so, yes, you will not, or I don't always get pure applied theatre workshops. For that, you need to have a body of work. You need to have build that credibility for years together. So right now, what my work is, I do mostly soft skill trainings. I have a lot of campus to corporate programs that I work with. I work on team engagement. I have conducted sessions on digital literacy, English language, all of these. And what I do is then I bring in applied theater into it. So for all of these sessions that I've conducted, I have always had to interview as if I'm interviewing for a new job. Even if it's a 1 day training, I have to interview as if it's a new job. So at that time, I talk about applied theater. What are the benefits of it, how it works, and how with minimal usage of tools and minimal conversation or talking, that is what in corporates, my friends are in corporate, and I used to always get this feedback from them that अरे वो trainers आते हैं ना वो कुछ नहीं आते हैं and बस they talk for a while for a 1 day, they'll show us some PPTs and they'll go away. I said that is not the kind of training that I conduct. So even when I go for a training, that is one of the first things I sort of do a expectation setting with my audience or with my participants. That this is not going to be a training that is going to be I'm going to put up a PPT
Right.
and then I'm just going to talk. So those kind of projects that I've been working with. So the companies wise, then I said I worked with Tata. I worked with so I worked with Nandi Foundation. That is the CSR wing of Mahindra. I conducted digital literacy program for a college in Kolhapur for them. Uh, then Barclays has a CSR wing. With them too, I conducted many programs. So
Yes.
that was again for colleges. Last year or last year, I'm not able to sure. But Pehle Akshar, now that is the CSR wing of RP Goenka. Under that, they had a program for training government school teachers. That was social and emotional skills because they come from a background where they work with children who come from a difficult background. So for them to understand social and emotional skills, so that therein I used to bring in applied theater a lot. That was one training that I used at maximum.
So can you elaborate more on this? This seems to be very interesting topic, and where you can actually use applied theater to get very interesting results also. Can you tell us a little bit more about this specific program you did, and how was the participants' reaction, and what kind of transformation that you have noticed?
Okay, just give me a second. So we had, yeah, from for there, for other strategies that we applied, they had a set training program that was provided to us. But in that, I took them through the process drama.
Okay,
That was one of the sub applications that I used in over there, wherein understand the process that a child is going through. That is one strategy that I applied. Then another one was role plays. Role plays are very common, but we did the character walk. Not remembering the name. Again, in the process drama, where you stand in a line and questions are asked and you step forward.
the
That
privilege
activity.
walk,
Sorry,
privilege walk.
privilege. See, the theory is still, the journal still helps.
Yes, it
I need to
does.
go back to it one more time. So yeah, that was one because then I made them think as students and then work. And then during the debrief, we had a discussion, and they said, we have been working as teachers for some time now, and हमें लगता था that we know about it, but now thinking from their perspective, there is much more that we need to explore with these students to understand them more, what we can do for them. And that was one of the one a big insight that we had one day.
Uh, Before coming to applied theater, you were doing trainings before that also, right? How was your journey from PPT to no PPT? Because that's a very kind of visible change when people go from conventional training to non-conventional training methods. So how was that change for you?
So for me, that was like wow. Initially, ki, how can you learn without actually, in my head, without actually learning or visually seeing anything? Because I'm a very note-taking person. I need that. I was that. I used to need that, not anymore. Uh, so that was the change that I had to go through. I went through, and initially also it was a bit of a struggle where I used to over-explain things because I'm not showing a PPT.
Right.
So that was a journey, and that I had to do that. Let the participants be with themselves for a while. You don't have to keep going on and on inside. Uh, from again, since I was doing theater, it was a little easier. That helped me get into it. But yeah, it's not a very easy transition uh, because now you don't have anything.
Yes.
So what do you do? So sometimes thinking on your feet is what I one of the skills that I learned. That because I used to observe when I came for observations with you also, so I used to realize we used to have an agenda, but it used to shift
Correct.
as how the participants are responding. It used to just make small changes to it, and that is another thing that I had to also pick up and learn uh, about it. Yeah.
So I think it's learning by doing for you as well as a
Yeah.
facilitator. Okay. But was there any kind of experience? Because see, normally in an interview, people always talk about good things. Okay, that's a convention. But as applied theater practitioners, our primary aim is to, create a discomfort. All right. So, was there any kind of situation where something that you have planned, you have implemented, and that didn't work? And then what exactly you did at that point of time as a facilitator? Or any unexpected situation uh, within a training that happened?
Uh, so yeah, one experience I've had was see now everyone may not appreciate applied theater. I went to, I'm not going to take names right now, but it
No
was a
need to. No need to.
it was a corporate training, and I had explained to them what kind of training I conduct. And so when we started the training, even the HR was a bit confused because the HR was standing at the side and observing, not participating. So the emotional and mental journey or process that the participants are going through, she wasn't going through. She did not understand what is happening, and
Correct.
for her, it looked like all play and games from outside. So I got quite a negative feedback कि ये तो मस्त games खिला रहे थे पूरा दिन, and so that was, and it was a bad feedback. It took me a couple of days to come out of it as well. So sometimes, of course, that it was also a learning. I do expectation setting. You cannot judge this training by sitting on the sidelines.
Correct.
You want to judge it, participate it fully, be in it, go through the mental and emotional process, and then tell me. Because my participants at that point were happy, but one again we have to unlearn a lot of things. They also got confused because there was no PPT. So,
Okay.
what? How are we going to learn through this methodology? So that happens again when I go for my campus to corporate programs also, because they're already still in the education sector. They have a habit and they want that notes or those PPTs and some. So it is sometimes a struggle. So sometimes the strategy needs to be adjusted. Second example that I wanted to give was I went to a college in a very remote area of Maharashtra. So over there, it was we had to prepare the students for the corporate life and prepare them for interviews post their college.
Right.
Uh, and being a very small town in Maharashtra, there were some girls. So for that I took them through characterization. I made them. That was a process that I applied the technique for that objective. And there were some girls who struggled because they haven't envisioned themselves in the working field. And I'm not saying this was graduation, so these were masters in pharmacy students. So for me, that also on the at that moment I had to switch because they were not able to relate. They are like, "Humko
Correct.
nahi, we are not going to go into the job market. We know it in very well. How what families we are coming from. We will have to get married." I said, "Okay." So right now you're trying to prepare yourself as an ideal candidate for an interview. Let's prepare you as an ideal spouse.
Okay.
So on the spot, there was a lot of giggling, obviously, that happened after that. But on the spot, I had to switch and adjust my also even my thinking and my uh, horizons. I had to expand. That this is not the only way, and it's a viable choice. It's their choice for life. So I have to respect that.
Absolutely. And I think that's kind of immediate change. Like when you notice that change and when you adapt and when you start changing yourself as a facilitator, that's where the exact role of a facilitator that you are playing. Wonderful, wonderful to listen that. So having said all these things, we all know that, when you learn something, especially any kind of art, it is just the beginning. So when you complete the diploma, that doesn't mean that, you have done everything, right? So what is next? Like, do you have any plans? Do you have anything more in mind to get little deep into this or, doing something different?
What I want to do, because right now what I'm mostly doing is in the general trainings that go on in the industry, I am putting applied theater wherever I can. But I feel I want to conduct a purely applied theater workshop. I did one in when I was in Nasik. I was living in Nasik at that point. I did conduct one purely applied theater workshop in Nasik, and that again was a very huge learning. That time it was the first time because we hadn't completed our diploma also during the Christmas break.
Yeah.
So again, and me being that person, I had a very written agenda, and I realized I have to throw the agenda out of the window. But because the mental and emotional processes that a person goes through while having using applied theater strategies and techniques, that self learning, nothing else will give you. That self exploration, that self understanding, nothing else is gonna give you. So I want to conduct a pure applied theater workshop.
Applied theater workshop. Okay. Uh, you were there as a student when you started the diploma, and now you have completed and you are a practitioner now. Do you feel that there is a scope for applied theater in coming years, especially in India?
Yeah, right now, because wherever I go as a trainer, and when during those trainings I apply these strategies of applied theater, and especially if I have co-trainers with me, all of they go, "What are you doing?" A lot of
Yeah.
times I get that response, "What are you doing with the students?" So they stop their training sometimes, and they're like, "Okay, let me observe this." Because I was in Puttuparthi, it's in Andhra Pradesh, for a week at a MBA school over there. So I had a senior trainer with me, and since we were sharing the hotel room, she sat me down and she asked me, and she knew you. She's a part of our WhatsApp group also.
Okay.
The Yeah, and she's like, "Yeah, I know about him, but I don't understand what he does." So then I explained to her all about Applied Theatre India Foundation and what is Applied Theatre. So then she's like, "Okay," so that she said, "Isn't that a better way to learn rather than what other usual ways are?" Now this is something that came completely from her. So she has been exploring applied theater. I have passed on the contact numbers and everything also. I think she spoke to Vaishali Tai once for
Okay.
inquiry. Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. Oh, that's great. That's great to listen, and that's great to understand, the whole journey where you're coming from, and, completed the diploma, and now you're traveling ahead, doing something interesting. Yes, yes,
If I
Radhika.
may add one thing is there, this is especially for the batchmates. See, you may not always, if you go and talk to people directly about applied theater, now this is after being in the field for a year, they don't understand. You have to explain what is applied theater. You have to give examples of strategies of how the application will work with an objective in detail, step by step. So
Correct.
I my so yeah, that is something mentally also. Are You have to manage your own expectations and understand. Yes.
Absolutely. Very correct. Like, I've been having this experience for almost more than a decade now, but you need to be very persistent and consistent about what you're doing. And I know that the coming years will going to be very, very different and demanding if you're really doing a good work in the area of applied theater. So, Radhika, thank you very much for joining here today and helping us understand your own journey. Uh, of course, the roads will cross sometimes in future, definitely, and we'll keep meeting, we'll keep talking, and let's learn together more about applied theater. Thank you very much, and wish you all the very best.